available as well as Zach and probably Caitlyn, and we'll see what else comes in for the Immortal fans.
Yeah, we've seen Flame play Jarvan both games, hasn't actually been that effective on the pick. We've also seen C9 ban Kalista on blue side and try and pick it on red. That didn't work out very well, so I wonder if the third ban here is Kalista. Again, it is. That was when they were more successful in game one, and I agree with that ban.
I wonder, actually, I think you don't need to ban Camille here. You can just take the late pick Jarvan and just ban Camille in the second phase. Cloud9 still putting a high priority on pushing Cody Sun off of Comfort, and the Xayah early pick going to come through once again to make Cody Sun maybe go back on that Kog'Maw or even something else.
Yeah, trying to recreate what worked in the first game. Playing around the bottom lane heavily, backfired for Cloud9 in the first game, but first picking the Xayah does mean that Immortals end up getting a lot of their comfort picks on the back end.
Yep, Thresh, Gragas going to come through. Rakan might very well be the pickup. Rakan to just find into Thresh, and
I think so.
Xfinity going to get a very comfortable Gragas for himself as well. So no Maokai going to come through like he had in the very first game of the series. Did lose, to be fair. About going to keep their duo most likely, and we'll see what else comes in after this Rakan lock-in. Or will it be something else? Of course, Syndra's still up on the table. Also Jensen's trademark Orianna. C9 may play the Syndra, actually, as a fact. So Pobelta could run back the previous game one matchup as something else, or try to counterpick.
Yeah, that has been something that Immortals has not wanted to let Jensen have his hands on this series. Definitely something he can take over the game with, but Pobelta did just have a very successful Corki game. So for first time this series, you see double mid laners matched early, but still a mismatch with jungle picks.
All right, so a marksman on the one side, a jungler on the other. Both top laners available. Immortals, if I'm playing the odds, it's, yep, that Camille ban into the early Jarvan grab. We'll see what else comes through, though. The only contested role is that top side. Or does Immortals want to wait and counterpick even later on? Tristana off the table. Let's see what else Cloud9 thinks Cody Sun wants to play.
Yeah, you never know what he's going to go for this game, but there's still plenty of marksmen, as we mentioned. In game one, it ended up working out pretty well. Very similar pick ban here. So what I feel like is going to happen is Immortals are going to pick Jarvan right after the break.
Yep. And
they're now saying, okay, Ray, you can play Gnar. We
play Kled. Like last time
we just saw this where we won instead of the Camille, which took over the game beforehand.
Let's see, do Cloud9 get rid of the cog that they know Cody Sun plays, or do they want him to play and say, yeah, we can abuse this, it shouldn't be a problem. We've got Xayah, Rakan, and now the Twitch is off the table. So, all right, Cody Sun, if he's playing what he's played, it's going to be the Kog'Maw. The Jarvan may come through as well. We'll see if Immortals does that, or if they buck the trend to do something different.
Yeah, they could also just actually wait for Flame's counterpick, depending on the size of his champion pool that we feel. But Jarvan has been their go-to pick. They seem very comfortable with it, but you wonder if the results of the series would say differently, and I guess they do.
And they're going to wait for it. Now maybe Cloud9 has a chance to take it away, and they want to go for the counterpick here. See now that they can predict that Jarvan comes through. That's not a guarantee, of course, by any means. And it's up to them to wind in their composition. They don't have any frontliners just yet. They need a jungler. They could always play their own heavy tank, like a Rek'Sai or even a Maokai or something. Or they can go for more of a fighter. Contracts Lee Sin certainly is pretty good. So is his Rengar. But Rek'Sai will be the first grab here. So there's a Cinderhook jungler, as we all kind of expect. Now, what's going to be in the top lane? Is it a secondary tank? Is it a fighter? Or is it a mage? And Diana has not gotten the buffs yet in 7-13. That's very unlikely at this stage.
Yeah, it's a blind pick top laner, really difficult when stuff like Renekton and Jarvan are available that are generically good. Wouldn't be too surprised to see that. Shen would be very heavily playing around some low mobility carries in the mid lane, and it's not even going to win the lane. So supportive pick for Ray comes in. A little bit unexpected that we see Shen.
Let's see what the counterpick ends up being. Renekton into Shen. I forget what the matchup's supposed to be that are good into Shen. I just don't know the lane well enough. And
all of them.
Pretty okay, fair. That's fair. You're right. You're not supposed to lose lane. I know Rumble had been considered a pretty good counter as well, since dodge does nothing, but he's going to go for the Renekton. Means he is a bit auto-attack based. You can actually immune the stun if you put the dodge zone in properly, so there's room for Ray to counterplay it. But Immortals are going to go off the Jarvan train and go for Renekton here for Flame.
Yeah, I think you can actually carry games with Shen, but it's nearly impossible to carry lane with Shen.
Yeah.
Especially against pro-tier players like Flame. So the Renekton is something that he's going to look to get a CS advantage and maybe prep some turret dives, but Shen, very good at surviving. So that's what Ray's going to have to do this game. And I mean, just looking at this draft, C9 has to play around Jensen. Jensen has to be the playmaker on this Syndra.
And it means that if Cloud9 is to win this match, they are going to win in completely different styles. The first game they won was Ray doing the heavy lifting and everyone helping him do so, and they won through the top, and that spilled over. This time around, I mean, Ray can have a great game, and he can be carrying, but it's not because they're going to Ray's lane, it's because they're going elsewhere, and Ray is participating, so someone else has to do the first play, take the first step, make the first move. We'll see if Cloud9 can do that. Meanwhile, Flame's supposed to have pressure. Immortals could camp that lane. They could have both or go off on Corki again, who this time is going exhaust, not teleport. You know, matchups very obviously dictate that, and we'll see what comes through into this one. If Cody's son can carry on the Kog'Maw, if Walter goes big on Corki yet again, or if it's Flame with the lane-dominant matchup can make the big plays. A lot of questions to be answered here as we get ourselves into Game 3 to figure out who can take this match over.
Yeah, such a close matchup between these two teams. The damage that can come through from Corki and Kog'Maw in the late game is immense. So Immortals would not mind taking this one to 40-plus minutes if they can stop C9 from snowballing through Syndra.
Let's see if they snap the snowball. It's going to be fun to watch for. Game 3 is afoot. And sadly for Immortals, it is Snow Day Syndra, so you are not stopping the snowballs. She is going to throw them at your face, and they're going to do like 7,000 damage when you press R. So good luck. See if they can deal with that one. Jensen and the rest of the crew are going to walk outside the map and look for something to do. We'll wait to see how the lanes go. Now, last time we saw this matchup at the bot lane, the push went back and forth between Immortals and Cloud9, but Immortals eventually got the better of it. And Cloud9 were fortunate that Ray had all the lane priority. So bot lane is maybe looking Immortals' favorite based on historics of this matchup. Jensen's supposed to win the mid lane here on the Syndra. It's the queen of lane dominant mid laners. And we know Flame's supposed to push in Ray, so off the bat, you're looking at 2-to-1 in lanes. Unless you can outplay it.
Yeah, early jungle routes yet to be seen, but Contracts would technically have the ability to have a better pull from his bottom lane. Does gank for Shen fairly well, but the Rek'Sai Shen damage probably not enough to take down a Renekton. So difficult ganks across the board for Contracts unless he goes bottom lane.
Yeah.
Even then, Thresh is hard to gank, so.
Yeah, Thresh Cog is usually pretty hard to deal with here in this one. You can flay the tunnel and whatnot. And maybe Flash Knock if it's enough. That seems unlikely. Both teams kind of win to make sure there's no heavy invasion in the jungle, and it's going to be the Raptor start for both these sides.
Yeah. But it is the Super Bowl. It is the Super Bowl for C9.
Oh, it is.
Jensen help from the mid lane. Contracts will clear out the small ones here, then hop over to red, which has been prepped by the C9 bottom lane. Notice how much damage Smoothie ended up taking. That actually eats through a couple of his potions.
That'll hurt a bit. Ancient Coin no longer gives health regen, I do believe. It gives you gold and mana coins. So the old version used to give you health. And look at these damage out from Ray, getting some good hits onto Flame. Of course, minion aggro is going to push Ray back a bit. Flame arguably heals better, though, on this Renekton. So this might actually hurt Ray in the long run.
Yeah, and I want to call my attention to Contracts right here because basically the ward was placed in the river to stop the Scuttle Crab level 3, but that doesn't guard against the Krug level 3 with the Super Pull. So he is undetected. Level 3 versus level 1. There's not even a Lantern yet.
Flash, there's the knock-up in, and there's the Flash W as well. Not going to land the second knock-up, but Cody's is going to go down anyway. The first image is there. Can they get the feathers back? And they're trying to take down Ole. A couple more shots will do him in the heel for the auto attack. And he's not going to get it. Sneaky went for all of it. Couldn't quite make it happen, but even still, first blood is nice. Good jungle route from Contracts.
Beautiful. It's the first time we've seen that actually in the North American LCS, so it switches up the pattern that you're used to seeing from the Rek'Sai. They warded the Scuttle Crab, so they thought, no way Contracts tease ganks us. He figures out a new plan. He does the Krugs as quickly as possible, kills the big one and the smaller one so the camp despawns, doesn't bother clearing the whole thing. So he gets here so early. The lane hasn't even hit their level 2 power spike. They're waiting for it. It's going to happen in a minute or two.
Yeah, it's 1 minute away. It's like 2 minutes left.
Oh, just beautiful. Flay, not enough to save Cody's son, and then they even chain the CC there onto Ole, and if one more hit, or if Contracts would have stuck around for potentially a Prey Seeker, maybe they get him, but the one kill is still a lot for that lane.
That's the kill over to Contract, so a 400 gold surge to him, and he took away the blue buff from Xmithy as well, and looks like Xmithy himself not in a position to take the other blue back, so Contracts not only gets first blood, but also 3 buffs his opponent, and looks like he's not in a position to lose any of his jungle camp, so really just a superior jungle start for Contracts, and that heavy leash from the C9 duo certainly paying off. And they pay dividends in the future here.
Yeah, bottom lane leash is for you, you gank for them. Everybody's a winner. It's one advantage I do feel like blue side has currently, just because people have gotten very good at giving that big leash. Slingshots the jungler ahead. And now also giving away an early blue to Jensen. So early game working out very nicely for Contracts. Unless Xmithy can spoil Jensen's day. Takes a safe route back over.
Back he goes, and it's still just level 4 for both these junglers, so Xmithy not getting a lot to do for himself. Looking for this, though.
Yeah, Flame warded Contract's jungle, so they know he's here.
And he lands the body slam blind over the wall, gets a smite away, and takes out the Gromp. So one counter jungle successful. Nice hook. Means damage. Looking for the knock-up, though. They're going to find this. Damage to Ole. Nice blade caller, gets some damage across as well, and now it's just the last hit under the turret.
Yes, going to be able to pick up pretty much all of them.
Jensen kiting away, though. He's got to respect Xmithy. He does have flash on both these sides, and Jensen's safe enough far in the back.
Yeah, always a little tricky when you have that early blue buff, because on one hand, it's great because you get to spam your spells. On the other hand, you don't necessarily have the control ward or the sweeper coverage this early in the game to warrant being pushed up constantly against a Gragas jungle, so Jensen has to play with controlled aggression in that lane.
And speaking of controlled aggression, Flame's doing a very good job of that as well. Look at that scoreline at the bottom, 22-41, nearly doubling. Yes, we're not supposed to win the lane matchup, but not to this degree typically. So Flame doing very well against Ray, and he's going to hope that his teammates can do all the hard work, because the gold is basically equal despite a first blood. A lot of that being farm advantages across the map. Tom's going to bring him to safety. Ray doing a good job here. He's trading well, but he's zoned off of CS so frequently.
Yeah, exactly. He's staying healthy in the lane because he's not opting into any bad trades, and Flame's done a very good job keeping the wave in spots where his minions kill Ray's minions, and Ray's enabled to get the CS. So
level 6 for Syndra. Contracts no flash, but if Syndra lands a stun, Powalter's probably dead for this. Not going to land the one here, but the knockup's going to be there. And here's the ulti. Powalter's gone. He couldn't get in range for the exhaust, and the flash didn't come out in time. What a great kill in the mid lane.
yeah, and that just happens sometimes when you're up against a good Syndra. Doesn't flash the Rek'Sai because he doesn't want to. He wants to save his flash, and he's behind his turret, for Christ's sake, he thinks. But he falls, now has a Hex Drinker to try and prevent that from happening again. But that is what the blue buff also enabled Jensen to do.
Yeah.
Because he had spammed the wave to the turret to give a lot of time for Contract to set up that gank, and still had mana for a full combo. So well done there.
Very well done indeed. Cloud9 able to win through, again, their other lanes at this point in Contract, and gotten his hands on all of these opposing champions. So that's went well for him. Their lane resets top at 32-59. Again, massive leads for Flame. Nice dodge zone for Ray. Spirit's Refuge gets away with the empowered Ruthless Predator. As again, they trade back and forth. You can see just, last hitting on a turret. Not the easiest Shen. Needs to hit the Q to get the casters here, and it'll be a pretty easy recall for Flame when he wants to.
Yeah, this is, if Ray plays it how he should, I feel like he can almost hold around 30 CS. That is one thing that kind of happens in a lot of Shen matchups, is he'll lose a bunch of CS early, but if he can actually build up tank or wave clear items, he can start to neutralize the lane a little bit more, since he gets more mobility, especially when Flame starts teleporting. Ray could technically match with his ultimate and then just get back to lane, almost Echo-ish in the sense that he has more tools to get back into lane. Still going to be a tough matchup. If Flame decides to just stay in lane the whole time and not play the map, he can continue to extend it, but that is often not what happens in the matchup.
So we'll see if Immortals plays around that, though. The first buys come in. Ray did it first. He recalled for Cloth Armor and the Bomby Cinder. That's, as you mentioned, wave clear tools, tank stats, and Flame, of course, the Tiamat going towards everything else. Keep having the push pressure there, as Jensen and Contract going to have pretty easy with the Ocean Drake. That's kind of mid lane pressure for you right there. They didn't need bot lane pressure for anything. It was just take a few seconds of Jensen's time and a couple hundred health off the Contracts, and a sub 9-minute Ocean Drake is going to be all kinds of lane pressure, and Jensen's going to feel really good about this. Ocean Drake does not turn off when taking minion damage, so it just gets that mana regen forever. Hex Drinker early for Powalter to survive the match is going to delay that 24's power spike by quite a bit.
They want to dive, though. There's no teleport on Ray, so if they get this kill, they can potentially take the turret after.
Well, the Q is away from now, so the dodge zone actually is not going to land any of those shots. He actually gets nothing out of the active, but Flash is away from explosive cast. Flame not going to want more of this one. He's actually got aggro on Xmithy right now, and that's warping the turret heavily. This is a very botched dive. Several hundred health lost by Immortals. A good flash by Ray to get away.
Yeah, Ray just dodging everything. Got a throwback Xmithy Gragas ultimate there on the turret. But other than that, just good job by Ray staying alive.
And meanwhile, pressure on the bot side, looking for round 2 of Cloud9. Shen is arriving to the bot lane instead. Suddenly, it's a 4v1. A flash to buy a few seconds. The taunt is in, though, and there's no way out. Sneaky gets the kill.
And that's key because they want to rush down this turret before Renekton, but they don't quite get it. So first turret gold still goes over to Immortals. Good timing on the Shen ultimate regardless.
Really, really, really smart. That turret would not have gone down without Xmithy helping. Even though, yes, they failed to get the kill, they got first turret gold first. Xmithy showing up a very big deal on this one, and so it keeps the gold pretty close. Only 700 apart, and that is clearly within spitting distance. We'll see if Cloud9 can do more, though. They are winning through mid and bot lane. They've got a 14 million lead in mid. They've got that turret down to the bot lane, plus 18 as well for Sneaky, with the kill on those 2 respective members.
Yeah, credit to Flame, though. Really good job keeping that CS massively in his favor. That's not your 10 or 15 CS advantage. He's doubling his CS 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you saw plus 48 CSD at 10? Maybe Bjergsen Jensen game 1 way back in like 2015 when he joined the team. Like, this is rare form, but it certainly has gone well for Flame.
Yeah, and speaking of Jensen, a lot of games, I feel like some people overcredit how much C9 will help Jensen, and he gets a lot of advantages on his own. Not the case this game. Jensen has gotten all of the help. The level 5 blue buff, as well as control wards in both sides of the river, as well as the Contract's turret dive early on. So they're really playing around Jensen here to try and make sure he succeeds.
Meanwhile, Cloud9, though, faster on the play, and man, turret killing with Zyra Khan feels great. The W gives you lots of extra damage here on this, and gonna be chunked down pretty quickly, of course. That extra kill means Zerk frees into BF store. Just look at the damage output here. They're gonna knock this one down a little bit faster than Immortals would do so. Meanwhile, a play in the mid side. Speaking of help to Jensen, he lands the stun, and there's just no possible way out. Exhaust gonna come in, gonna buy a few more seconds. The ulti coming across and flashing by enough space, so he tried to dodge the ulti, didn't happen, didn't get away from Rek'Sai. The 1-for-0 in the mid lane. Now Contract forced to run. He's got Smoothie around for a shield if he needs it. Contract W's for some regen, trying to get away. The charm, the knockup is there. Ray's gonna look for a bit of a stun. He can't get on the lantern. Not gonna find the taunt either, though. His Mitch is gonna be safe. And he's gonna kill the ward that they tried to put down to stop the lantern.
Yeah, both summoner spells were burned by both mid laners in that one, which can also make it even more of a battlefield later because the more people come to that lane, the more they can swing it with no summoner spells. Still, another kill going down on the Pro Belter, and C9 maintained control of that one. Thresh roamed up, leaving Cody's son to get the solo turret gold. That will mean the Rip kill.
Picked up pretty early on this one, so let's see what more Cloud9 can get for themselves. Mid lane may be the priority. The charge can't be stopped. The turret's only at half. So it won't take a lot to knock down that mid lane outer, and Cloud9 can keep the pressure going. Very fast game from them, though.
Yeah, that mid lane turret's a perfect candidate for a Rift Herald push, but he gets the stun on the Pro Belter. They chain the CC, although Jensen does move into range for exhaust. He didn't have to. That would have prevented Contracts from getting in trouble towards the end of this one. Luckily, though, Contract's still able to stay alive. Xmithy can't turn it, does burn Flash ultimate regardless. And they get both summoners out. Unable to follow up on the CC to Xmithy.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, never mind. I thought for a second Jensen had cleanse and not ghost, but no, that was not the case. So you're right. Getting the ulti exhausted certainly could have been a risk there and took some damage. Still, this game is reasonably close despite the score line up at the top. It's only 800 apart, and that is the 80 minion lead for Flame. And I've noticed this before in the broadcast, but the term Flame Horizon is for Flame, the player right here on your screen, who is known back when he played professionally in Korea for regularly getting 100 minion farm leads. Almost every game he ever played in top lane. He was known as one of the giant top lane greats. Had his own kind of style of play, very farm focused, and he's doing similar things now here on Immortals.
I'm sure there is a Flame fan out there in the world that knows the earliest Flame Horizon ever. Depending on how much Ray joins the rest of the team and how much Flame wants to go for that. I mean, he's at 65 already, but gameplay happening in the middle. If Immortals tries to fight, Ray would most likely join with ultimate. They're just going to give it to him.
Pop! Down goes the quarter of the Rift Herald's health, but still the turret is gone, and all 3 outers are broken, and that's going to be enough for Cloud9. They're not looking for more. They'll let it charge in. They'll get a couple hundred health off that, but it's going to fall. The gold's going to go over. And Immortals will continue to wait to scale. Cody's son making an interesting choice, going actually Rageblade first item. I think DPS-wise, it's actually optimal because there is so many stats that have stacked up Rageblade.
Yeah, it just means you're so weak building up towards it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's the interesting choice right here because Cody's son, effectively says the lane phase is over. He doesn't actually want a lane phase item anymore because he's only going to lanes where it's uncontested farm. So if he's trying to get to teamfight as quickly as possible, I think it's the right call.
Yeah.
Just giving up a lot of power until he completes it.
And it's going to a lot of power, but if he gets there, it's going to be nice. He'd like to go Hurricane next.
17 more CS over Ray, and Flame would hit Flame Horizon.
Yeah.
In like 16 minutes.
Yeah, it would take a minute and a half to get those 3 waves.
Or if he goes and takes jungle,
yeah.
There's some Raptor camps or something.
Yep, find the Raptors, find the Krugs. But I'm going to keep stacking Drakes in the meantime, and those only mean 1 CS, but they mean more than a wave of farm normally would. And that goes down. And look at the timing as well. He's going to max the recalls, and then go back to base. The turret is going to fall. Flame going to knock that one down by himself and knock down even more minions. Flame getting more out of this one, and now they're going to find Ray. And Exhaust is on. They got to get away. Nice ulti comes across. With the ultra a bit low, they land this one as well. This could be what they need. Ray is in for the auto attacks and gets the kill over to Jensen, showing up just in time, and takes the farm from Ray to make this happen a little bit more likely.
I mean, you're giving the goal to Jensen with this team competition. That's the strat. Level 12 in the mid lane to Pobelter's level 10. He tried to make a play happen with the package, play around Flames, massive advantage, but Jensen was there on the roam, retreating to the bottom lane to help him out. Like Smithy also could have helped out a bit, but he was taking the jungle. Did not expect to see Jensen there. You can see by his immediate retreat, but great job by Pobelter just getting the scatter stun. Essentially, after ulting early and pressing E, almost always a guaranteed stun. Poor Ray, that just ruins his stats. Just the fact that 83 exists, you now need to have 8 games where you're plus 10
and
just to make up for the 1.
And it's still worse by 3. And the thing is, they share time in the top lane as well, so his sample size is lower. Ray is now statistically the worst top laner in the North American LCS laning phase.
That's why sometimes
stats in that context are not okay.
That's brutal, man.
I know.
83 CS at 15 down.
You know what's a really bad stat? Support CSD.
I mean, that's a stat no one cares about.
I know, but I'm just saying. We don't use it, but it's a terrible stat. I played tanks, so I guess I'm winning in CSD. Congratulations, bro.
Support CSD is probably about as important a stat as sips of water in a game. Like from Jensen in his player cam. That's how relevant it is to the success of the game.
Little did you know, actually, Jensen only drinks when he's winning. And it's actually like the highest determinant of team wins. I don't know. It's correlation, not causation, regardless. So we are in this game of Immortals, continuing to try to win through their top laner, Flame, and everyone else kind of hemorrhaging gold. They're going to look for Ray. They're going to find the knockback. A nice flash comes in time, and Smithy could not land explosive cast quite between those CC durations ending.
Yeah, I will say, this is the best I've ever seen a top laner play who's down 80 CS at 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Because he actually is doing mostly what he needs to do. He's losing badly, but he's not hemorrhaging his loss. And the team is making positive plays around the pressure he is taking.
Yeah, he's definitely got the second highest or third highest KP and KDA on the squad right now. He's certainly doing the best he can. That said, though, he has lost 4 turrets. Every lane that Ray goes, well, 3, sorry. Bot lane died without him. Bot lane auto died without him. But every lane Ray has gone to, he has lost a turret. Now, again, it's matchup, but at a certain point, the turrets are dying because Flame is winning. And again, this is an above average win, so there's some elements to be had. Not that Ray's got a lot of control over it, but Immortals are staying in because they're winning through this lane. And if they can keep that going, if Flame can keep getting this gold, he's got the highest CS in the game for anyone not named Jensen. He's got a ton of money right there. He's got 6,900. He's up 1,500 over Ray right here. Yeah. This is what Immortals needs to win the game through. Yeah, 1,700 gold lead for Jensen versus the 1,500 gold lead for Flame. That is the trade-off these teams are making. And then there's the objective advantage that C9 has on top of that they're going to hope to be able to transition. But if we look at the late game team fighting of these teams, the Corki Kog'Maw is huge. Not to mention the Knight's Vow Gragas. And the supportive items they're going to be able to build on Thresh. So Immortals is okay extending this game via Renekton still pushing currently. Yeah, I think they have enough tanks. Renekton, you would argue, doesn't scale quite as well as Shen does, but you've got a Gragas held front line. Like, you're not worried about, matching your front lines together and handling them. So we'll see what plays out. Ray gonna keep battling Flame for some farm. It looks like this Flame Horizon will be far away at this point. Expecting coming back down to Ray. They just keep finding him. It's supposed to cast this time. He's gonna buy a few more seconds, but whoop,
see ya.
Like a sneaky ninja, jumps over a wall and disappears. And now look at this one, the charm, the double knockup, Brother Storm is in. They're gonna shut down Cody. Said he's deleted off the face of the map explodes for nothing, and more knocks coming through. They find Ole for a bit more, pops the box, try to run away. Contract's in there, though, taking some damage from both of them, gets right back out. And here comes the TP in for Flame. The big crocodile is here. How angry is the Gator?
Yeah, not entirely sure what Xmeti hoped to accomplish with that gank onto Ray. They're not playing with Camille, they're playing with Renekton. He doesn't kill you as fast.
Yeah.
So even as far behind as Ray is, he's stacking armor and health, and he just taunts over wall. He gets away.
Yeah, that one wasn't going to land for them. So out they go, and it means a lot of mid lane pressure came through, and that mid lane turret's almost dead as well. So Cloud9 making the best of that situation as Ray just ulted in and made sure it all happened.
Yeah, and this is why Rakan is good. They're able to make plays around it. The Shen ults in on top of the Rakan. He's set up for another play, although Ray holds his taunt the whole time. Now C9 don't quite break that turret, but do get more pressure in the mid lane.
And Jin's going to solo with Blue buff for the meantime, keeping that gold income coming. But this game is only 2,000 apart. It's very weird for a 6-kill lead. As the CS difference in top remains 81 right here. But I wonder, with all that gold being on Renekton, he is not the best user of gold leads in a general team fight sense. So we'll see if Immortals can continue to leverage Flame well. Cloud9 keep trying to stack up map advantage. Infernal Drake coming up in 6 seconds here. Looking for control. Powalter wants this Scuttle Crab. He's going to get it just in time as Ray comes in from the wing. He's got to pack it down, maybe.
Crab.
Watch out for the knockup. Contract's not going to go for it. I think he knew Contracts had no flash.
Yeah,
so
pretty important that he held on to the package as well, though, because Infernal Drake is live and they want that package threat if they have a fight here. C9 trying to get control via mid lane priority.
Ray has summoner teleport. Flame does not. Sneaking to start this Infernal Drake here. Contracts in the front line. Blue Trinket used to spot this. Smithy waiting in the wings. He's going to find the double knockup. Lifetime hits. They found a bit more. Here's the package across. They find a ton of damage. They're going to get a bit of damage. And there's the explosive cast. And they have found Smoothie. Now Contract's forced to kite away. He's going to pop the ult for a bit of time, but he's going to be shut down for this surely. And 3 kills picked up in the front line. They're going to find Ray as well. 4 in a row for Immortals. They've got absolute control now.
And a huge fight for Immortals. That's exactly what they had been slow playing for. They had the Trinity Force on Corki, the Rage Blade on the Kog'Maw, and a very fed Renekton who was finally able to involve in the fight. And the CS on the ward gives him a 21-minute and 30-second Flame Horizon.
There you go.
Baron.
21-30. Flame going to keep this lead going as the first goal of the game comes through for Immortals, and they want this Baron actually to fall, and there's really no chance to stop it. So Immortals going to go up 2,000 gold, wield a Baron buff, and recall in 22 minutes.
Just such a huge fight. C9 really wanted this Infernal Drake, but they trapped themselves in a corner. There's no Shen ultimate yet. So their main initiator gets flayed back and killed, and Xmithy's Gragas ultimate was gorgeous. So Jensen was the only one kind of in on it that Flame was going to flank the team and kill everyone. So he runs early, and just everyone else was in on the pit. So Immortals kill everyone else.
Flame basically solo killed Sneaky, and Jensen ran away, and those were all the carries, right? This was the 2 carries, the ones with the gold, and yeah, Flame used his gold lead to essentially 1v1 one-shot Sneaky during a stun. There's basically nothing he could have done about that. So yeah, the carries were gone, and the rest of the team was able to kill frontline quickly. High damage Kog'Maw builds at work, and Powalter doing very similar work here. Of course, the kite away from Immortals, and with the 2,000 gold difference in this game, Immortals should be the ones trying to push for more. They have both the mid lane turrets available to this, and they're going to push.
And we do have to keep pointing out that Ray picked the Shen blind. Reaper picked the Shen for Ray blind. They could have given him Renekton and then saw what Flame does for it. So Flame absolutely just doing the best possible thing he can with this counter pick.
Yeah, and they play it around him. They've knocked down 3 turrets in the head-to-head matchup. He's showing up where Flame is, and that's 3/4 of the Immortals turret kills. Is through that matchup, they're doing a very good job of it. See what more they can get as the gold lead's now 2,500. As Flame keeps the split push going. He's got a Baron buff, which means it's even easier to play this one-on-one. He's going to look for the inhibitor turret now. Ray can join the fight, and Flame cannot. Cloud9 could make a 5v4, but they'd lose inhibitor turret for it.
Not something they're willing to opt into as of yet, but they're going to have to find a way to get control of this game back with the Baron up right now. Immortals hoping to get pressure in multiple waves, and at the very least break this outer mid lane turret. It's hard to take control of the map in general when you don't have this turret down.
Fire for themselves. Slow into Jensen. The chance of the cask is there. Smithy, though, is flashless. doesn't want to go for the big body slam play. And the siege continuing, and to be honest, being stuffed at an outer turret with a Baron buff is a little bit rare, but so far it's good defense for Cloud9. The double Ocean Drake certainly paying a bit of help with this one because they're standing back up and their health and mana between these waves. Step number 5.
Very hard for Pobelter to poke out with turrets or with missiles as long as Jensen keeps wave clearing. They're going for a fight.
They're going to look for Cody Sun, the deletion. He's going to flash away. They get him though. Jensen picks up one and kites back with Smoothie. Now a little bit of a slow into it. Smithy cutting back and forth. Contract going to ult to buy a bit more time. Gets to the back line right in front of one. They're going to find another knockback. And that's another kill. Traded 2 for 1 so far. Favor of Cloud9. Ray though going to lose his life. The shield is on. Still falls down. 3v3 on the map as Smithy comes right back in. They find Sneak in this one. A big 2-man start though. Another 2-man knockup out of Smoothie. Do they have the damage? They can't quite kill the tanks. They're too beefy. A triple kill for Pobelter. There's too many stats on Flame. They can't kill him off. And young POV chasing down on a Smoothie reveals him. Blast cone not quite over the wall. He's pretty quick though.
On that blast cone, he should be able to get away. Pobelter just getting a rocket back up, shield, and Ocean Drake's kicking in for Smoothie.
And jumps the wall though, and there's no mana, so he's gonna get away with this one, but still mid lane outer's going to fall. Immortals do win that fight. I believe they went +1 overall in kills, and they got the turret finally as well, so the Baron power play does kick in to a closer to 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and you can't ask for a better initiation by C9 for this fight. And this fight, I think, is an example of why they picked the Shen with the Rakan, because they want to be able to just full-on initiation, have Smoothie, then deliver the Shen. Look at this engage range. Stun onto Cog, change stun onto Cog, and then Shen delivered right in the backline for a taunt onto Pobelter. But beyond that, now enter Flame. This is the other side of the coin. A massive Renekton who's now able to block along with Xmithy for Pobelter, who despite dying a bunch in the early game, he's still quirky. He still does a bunch of damage with his Trinity Force and his Hex Drinker, so despite the chain CC, it's not on the Pobelter. Pobelter does a bunch of work, picks up a triple kill in the extended fight. And if that fight doesn't work for C9, what fight will? They have to have an even better initiation.
No, absolutely agree. Deleting the Cogma doing no damage at all. And now it's going to be another attempt in this one to package his Pobelter out. The slow is in, but here comes Rek'Sai, and that is what Pobelter was looking for earlier. Valkyrie to get out of the range of that. Contracts, I believe, did not contact for any damage. And that's the ability you have when you are playing Corki with movement speed. Looking for the root, the one with Smithy forcing him to flash away. Here comes the re-engage. Cody Sun is here. Night's Vow is on. They're going to find a stun zone. They're going to look for Ray. They're going to find that one. Cody Sun getting the kill credit. And in comes Flame. Look at that damage output. God. Almost single-handedly deletes the player. And Sneaky just barely running away. Doesn't get shot by the living artillery in the end, but still running with low movement speed. Flame wants it. Could he jump the wall? He's going to whiff it. But Xmithy is there to make sure it comes in all the same. Ironic, the fat man is one who gets over the wall successfully. 2 for 0 Immortals though, and they have complete map control, and Contract suddenly in a rough spot tunneling away.
Yeah, Xmithy's got your back, Flame. Doesn't matter if you can't slice over the wall. While this is the build for Renekton, the Hydra, Cleaver, Stoneplate, this is almost a game where I would have rather seen just even more damage temporarily, right? He didn't take like damage in that fight, right? Just continue to kill him, but either way, it'll scale him much better into the late game team fights. As Immortals tries to take more advantage.
Certainly would be a risk to go for more damage here if they do need to convert at some point. And there could be a flash hook is going to land. Will they go for more kills? The Flame's going to be in there as well. Here comes the Shuttle by a few more seconds. The only coming across looking for Cody Sun. And the shutdown is there for Contract. They've kept Jensen alive. He's kited back. And another kill comes through as they've knocked down Ole. 2 for 0 so far. It will be a trade most likely on a Contract. One more shuttle do him in. No, he's kiting away. The tunnels are back up. And Explosive Cast gets absolutely nothing. Smithy flashbacks to CLG as now Ray is going to fall off. So at least one kill comes in, but 2 for 1 the trade. Advantage Cloud9 in that fight.
Yeah, Immortals fought without Flame. And Flame is the majority of their gold leads, so they were pretty confident there, thinking that the flash hook could be able to be followed up with damage, but the Shen ult comes through, shields for 600, can't take down Jensen, who's already built relatively defensively with the Leandries and the Banshee spell, so watching it one more time, yeah, the Shen ult just comes through, he's able to burst down Cody Sun easily, Ray then taunts Ole under the turret, and they pick up the quick double, but then the fight kind of extends. Contracts is going for more because C9 really wants to find a way back into the game. Gets a little messy because they're really low towards the end there, and Ray does taunt back in, but if he continued to run away, he may have been hit by the Gragas ultimate. Definitely could have retreated. Probably ends up giving one over at the end. Still a positive fight for C9.
It is in this one. We watch as Drakes were picked up pretty recently as well. On the backside of that one, Gragas, Immortals, Xmithy picked up the Ocean Drake 30 seconds ago. So Immortals adding their own Drake to the mix, and now they've got ways to siege as well. Now a nice knock-up on Ola, looking for the Blade Call route, not gonna find it yet, but there's the quickness, the knock-up is in, they're gonna find another as Xmithie's been charmed up, damaged up, but there are a lot of damage out of Jensen with the ulti, but he's gonna stay alive for this one. The chase in, Hunter's looking for it, not quite gonna find it, tunneling right back out, and he's gotta kite away a little bit longer. Sun on a flame, looking for more damage with Pole Belter. Blade Call is gonna miss yet again for Sneaky, and just the 1-for-0 Ole is dead. 0-for-8 right now on this Thresh. Immortals looking for a little bit more, and this one is Cloud9 in the 5v4, get rid of the wards, but will not start Baron just yet.
Yeah, that was pretty key there, catching Ole when the rest of Immortals was not willing to collapse, since Immortals is so much stronger in those 5v5 team fights. And C9 had an opportunity like this last game where they forced Baron and then ended up getting ace, so they're trying to play around it right here. Looking for that initiation. They do have the Rakan flash up, but no quickness available.
Might still be enough to make something happen if Cody's on splashless, but he's not. He's got that available, and Pole Belter has a summoner as well. So no prime targets easily shot at until that cooldown does come back up. Cody's talking about what's end third, which honestly, because of how much damage Jensen's doing, I kind of like as a mix between an offensive and a defensive item. No Rune King here kind of hurts, but again, he needs to survive to do any damage at all, so I can't fault him for getting a Negatron Cloak from his build. Contakt's gonna go push in mid lane first. C9 wants mid priority. The rest of Immortals waiting around the wing. Yeah. Flow on Raven, no follow through.
And Immortals want to fight, so they have the stronger front line, and it hasn't been something C9's been able to cut through.
Absolutely true. They don't have the same tank killing as a Kog'Maw, because how could that ever work otherwise? Maybe Sneaky when he gets the Infinity Edge, that'll be a huge spike for him. And just get a little bit closer. But that's still several thousand gold away. Actually, it's pretty close to it. He's within 400 of finishing IE, so if they can give Sneaky 2 waves, he'll basically have the items.
Yeah, I think they should, but they are in constant fear of a Gragas initiation. Great trying to get that bottom.
The backline is there. He's going to catch him. Knock him right into the team. That was absolutely beautiful. Sneaky Breath Storm's in. Tries to get away. They're going to find a bit of a trade as Cody's son is going to fall. A trade of Marksman. Now it's time for the 4v4 afterwards. Flame cutting back and forth away from Jensen. Meanwhile, the top side of the fight is just slow and surely a burn out of contracts. Another stun and a flame, but look how tanky this Renekton is. Stays alive even longer. Looks like a positive trade as Immortals gets one more kill out of it and goes back to the mid lane.
Yeah, that's where the Stone Plate kicks in. He had the right timing on the active. Cody's son does fall yet again. Something Immortals hasn't necessarily been able to protect in these games, but they're at least gaining Baron control. Flame has teleport. He could come back in if they start this Baron.
And you're
that's what
play.
they're going to do.
All right, they're going to try for it, though. It is a guaranteed 5v3, though, on this one. Cloud9 going to do the best they can to stop. Ray spots it. Gives her even a chance to steal, though. The only damage dealer is Jensen.
Yeah, he doesn't have the damage to kill Flame or Xmithie.
Or even Ole, potentially here. The health bars are way too high. Baron's going to go down. Early smite, but they're going to be fine. They grab it. And Cloud9 cut away. They invited a misplay. They didn't find one. Immortals get it cleanly. Out they go. QS has picked up for Cody's son. Try to survive the next fight.
Yeah, and even though the kills are even, this game is not. Xmithie, after taking blue buff, finds the body slam flash, gets it, ults early, so that was a body slam R flash, essentially, the super guarantee that he's able to knock him back. Then Flame just slices and dices through to secure the kill. But on the other side of the fight, you got the Kog'Maw going down. Then it just becomes who's got the better remaining DPS. And you have Syndra, who's a setup CC champion that does the same damage, and Corki on the other side. So even though he's further behind, he's got way more sustained damage, and the team fights are going in that side.
And a 14,000 gold Renekton, who's the richest player in the game. So unsurprisingly, Flame could like 1v3 and get away with it. Felt unlucky for Sneaky, by the way. He was in the middle of casting his Q when Gragas came on screen. So he was unable to then cast Feather Swarm, so he's in the middle of casting a spell already. I'm pretty certain that's how it works. I haven't tested it, but I'm vaguely certain that Ziggy literally could not have Feather Stormed away. Could have flashed, I think, but regardless, that didn't happen here. Ardent Sensor in for Smoothie means a bit more damage. Will only apply to his primary target. It will not apply on the rest of the feathers, but attack speed is still a good stat, and we'll see if Cloud9 can eventually shred these tanks. They certainly need a Lord Dominic's on Sneaky as fast as they can get it, as he keeps getting this farm with Infinity Edge done.
Still think Infinity Edge is the right call.
Oh, absolutely.
Crit scaling.
He just needs a Lord Dominic's as well.
Yeah.
It's a long way to go. Cody's son thankfully has damage on his kit, and he's allowed to go QSS and still out damage Sneaky. And we'll see what Immortals can do there with this newfound Baron buff. The first one got them 2 kills in a mid lane outer turret. Here's Baron number 2, and only 145 left, only half the buff duration remaining. But they're up 8,000 gold via farm and everything else.
and they still have Kog'Maw Corki.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you have a Fed Renekton on the other team, you think, okay, just wait it out. You're going to hit max items, and then the Renekton won't be that big of a problem. But if the Renekton's not that big of a problem, the Corki and Kog'Maw will be a problem. So I love it when you mismatch early in late game strength in team competitions like this.
Absolutely. Cody's gonna attack quickly, but now has to wait out the cooldown. 9 seconds down. Simon Contract wants enduring that. You can see he gets a flash knockup. Beautiful on a Contract, but a great flash of the wall. Cody's son gets away. That was important.
Yeah, and Contracts is willing to spend his flash for Kog'Maw's flash.
Oh, 100% of the time.
Now means that Smoothie, when his flash comes up in about 20 seconds, will be able to get it. The problem is, as we kind of mentioned before, you kill Kog'Maw, there's still a Corki there, and there's still a Renekton there. So having multiple members with large goal distribution has been very beneficial for Immortals this series.
Infernal Drake number 2 comes in. Cody's son gets even more bonus stats. The Warlord's Bloodlust, the rest of the damage output available. It's going to be a big puppy. Looking to knock everything down, play around the rest of the marksmen on this team. And that's the thing is, again, you mentioned Coldwater several times, and even though C9 are repeatedly one-shotting Cody's son, there is more damage output on this team. No look for Ole just yet. Kog'Maw back in the mid lane using the bonus range to get some shots on that turret. Lanterns away from Jensen. Has to respect the stun, though. Does get hit. QSS, maybe not needed, but he was very afraid of getting one shot.
Jensen with Void Staff. Yeah, critical, because Cody's son actually has 137 magic resist when he's fully stacked on his wit's end. So you actually need the Void Staff to get your damage through.
Yeah. And speaking of keeping carries alive, I actually personally really prefer Face the Mountain Block It as the Thresh build, because you get half value of Knight's Vow. I just think like the opportunity cost is so much lower if you're gonna go for a Face the Mountain or something, because the Knight's Vow is not nearly as good, though it's efficient, you know, generally efficient on its own. I think the directed shielding would be better and let Xmithie run the Knight's Vow, and I think at that point with the 2 active shields, you probably keep Cody's son alive through a Syndra.
Yeah.
Just optimization and stuff, because, I mean, a lot of these fights have been very close to Cody's son living, and I think you add active shields and he does, this game might have been even easier for Immortals, as a theory.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like building Thresh like a melee support, but Knight's Vow is half as effective from a healing and damage reduce perspective since Thresh is ranged. Yeah. So if you, I mouse over the Knight's Vows for Xmithie versus Ole. Xmithie has redirected 700 damage and received 1100 healing, whereas Ole has redirected 59 damage and received 143. Obviously, Xmithie completed his Knight's Vow much earlier, so those are going to be heavily weighted, but you're almost always getting double or more when you're building it on an actual melee champion.
Ray read it wrong. He thought he had no vision. He thought he was going to get jumped right there. I understand the decision. Oh, I'm getting caught. I took too greedy of a wave. I got to get out. We're in Fog of War here, but there's actually no threat. But here comes the attempt. Ray has ulti. They want in on Cody's son. They're going to find the knockup. They stop the lantern. There's no way out. He got found in the mid lane. And now Cloud9 need to use his 5v4 for as much as they can. They're coming back from an 8,000 gold deficit. 1 kill in the mix for 45 seconds.
They want to 5v4 hard here. They still have flash on Smooth. They still have flash on Jensen. And they still have flash on Ray.
Flame's behind him.
It's going to be a brawl if Flame takes this fight.
They're going to go for the mid lane. They found Conjure for a bit. Knock up on Xmithie. Here comes Flame in the back line. Sneaky cutting away. Jensen doing the same. And in comes Coldwater with the exhaust on. He wants this Syndra. And they're going to find it a shutdown for 1 in the 4v5 and Contract. Forced out as well. Sneaky already very low. Ray taunt, tries to get away. Presence coming in, but Sneaky doesn't do all that much damage. Looking for the triple root, looking for a little bit more. Coldwater on the wings as well. In comes Flame, has already shut down Rakan, looking for the Oathsworn as well. He's going to find a bit more in the back line as the rest of Cloud9 are just falling apart right now as Ray chased out. He's gone. Sneaky only the one left alive, and without Cody's son, Immortals still won the fight 4-0.
Oh, Belter with the package in that fight. Absolutely destroys Jensen, and we know that Sneaky has not been able to deal with Flame, so once Jensen is off the table, C9 is completely out of threats. Immortals destroy Cloud9 while they're trying to come back in the game.
And that was Jensen's first death of the game. He's playing as well as he could. He kept getting these deletions. 10 out of 13 kill participation.
Might be the series.
Killing off the Kog'Maw, and it might just be the series. It's Immortals coming back and swinging in well, looking to pressure the mid lane, looking to knock down Sneaky in the end of it all, and he will get killed off. It's now only Smoothie left alive. Jensen respawning, but it's not going to be enough. Immortals looking to close out game 3. Looking for the big play. A big stun comes across. They found 1. They found 2. Now can they make the rest of it? Guardian Angel going to bring back Flame, though. The attack's coming across. The Holder still wants 4. Being CC'd up, flashing back to the auto attacks. Cody set it as well. And it's going to be the Nexus. It's Immortals taking down Cloud9 and ending the week in first place.
What a series this was game 3. Pobelter goes up against Jensen. Jensen Syndra gets ahead, but Flame 100 CS up at 20 minutes, completely dictating the flow of the game, giving them massive gold leads. They found a fight at 20 minutes. And in this series, once Immortals had a lead, they did not give it up.
They really didn't. And even though C9 had these well-orchestrated, impossible to outplay dives to destroy Cody Sun, Pobelter took up the mantle, Flame took up the mantle, those people put in the damage. As far as actual damage output's concerned, obviously Pobelter topped it, but Flame was second on the team. Actually, Cody Sun was fourth on the squad. It was below Gragas and Renekton. That's what happens when you die to Syndra or Rakan every fight. You don't get to do anything about that. I can't even blame Cody.
I mean,
but the rest were there to kill.
C9 had built a team composition that was incredibly effective at picking a target and making it die.
Yeah.
But they could do that once. And there were too many targets on Immortals' team. So Cody Sun, luckily, is able to laugh about that one. He's like, I just died all the time. It was great. Because Pobelter always was there on the backside to do the majority of the damage. The Corki pick really pivotal in this series in both games because Pobelter could fall behind in lane and then still have a larger influence over the team fights. And that was true in both of their victories in games 2 and 3. So really good job of them coming from behind after that game 1 loss to win the next 2.
Absolutely beautiful stuff. And, you know, I got to say, Cody Sun playing his tank Kog'Maw, receiving all the aggro. He's essentially Braum in this one, saying, yes, hit me. I'll take the shots. Pobelter, you go do your thing. He made use of his passive. He used the entire Kog'Maw kit. I see you, Cody Sun. Well played there.
At a certain point, he should have just went back to base and bought a Warmogs or something.
Yeah, right.
He was just dead.
Look at a frozen mallet.
2, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
Did he do less damage than Gragas?
Yeah, he did. He was 4th. Yeah. I can't blame him, right? Like, who? I mean, to a certain extent, you're literally Kog'Maw against this Cloud9 composition. Like, what exactly do you get to do about this? And it's not many things. So again, personally, I give Cody Sun a pass. I thought he did the best, roughly the best he could have. I'm sure there were obviously mistakes that could have been circumvented, but either way, again, massive credit to Flame. The counter pick came in, went on the Renekton, hard smashed the lane. Xmithie gave him a ton of attention, a ton of pressure, and 3 of the first 4 turret kills were because of that duo, because of showing up, pushing him out of the lane. Usually not killing him. Flame started out 0-0-2 when, or not Flame, sorry. Ray was 0-0-2 when the turrets fell, so we got away. But the turret still fell because he vacated the premises. They got first turret goal because they were there by 3 seconds faster than Cloud9 to the bot lane, and that kept snowballing.
Yeah, and critically, it means Immortals is tied for first place.
Yep.
Depending on the results of the TSM series, it's going to be a 2- or 3-way tie for that first spot. And they also knock C9 down to 6 and 6. So as far as how much this matters for the final weeks of the season, a lot. That's a huge buffer they just gave between themselves and Cloud9.
There are 3 matches ahead of three match wins ahead of 4th place. Maybe Dignitas comes up if they beat Phoenix 1. Maybe Envy comes up if they win another match as well. But either way, a nice large buffer for Immortals on the top side. We'll see if they get that playoff by the end of it all. But now, for more on that win, let's check in with Zyrene and the Immortals. Well, not so immortal bot laner.
Thanks for the flame, Freak. Yes, I'm here with Cody Sun. Congratulations on the win. And also, that's your second time beating Cloud9 there in this split, and it's been by the slimmest of margins. The games have gone the distance. They've been very compelling and very exciting. But what has it been about your team that's been able to edge out Cloud9 in those clutch moments to take the games?
I think we usually just try to play around Jake and his plan for the early game. So yeah, whatever he pass and wherever he wants to go, the laners just try to play accordingly, and then usually he looks for really good ganks, and I don't know, I guess we just have Cloud9's number.
In those late game decision-making moments, who's making those calls and what is really coming together to beat a team like Cloud9?
In team fights, it's usually just the people with CC that try to call the targets, and then the damage dealers telling the frontliners if we can go forward or just kite back. And then, yeah, I mean, I told Eugene before the game started, it's we have Corki Kog'Maw, so if one of us dies, the other just cleans up and kills everyone else. So yeah, today I just died the most on Kog.
You also ended up dying level 1 off a really unexpected gank that kind of came through the jungle very quickly. So what do you do to keep your mentality in the game when those unexpected things happen?
Yeah, Contracts had a really good early gank bottom. We knew he was coming, but yeah, we kind of just blundered, and I used both my songs, and I still died. So I was like, okay, guys, I'm pretty far behind. Just try to play on the other side, and then I'll just try to play safe.
All right, and so I have 2 more questions for you here. The first one is about your improvement, because you had a pretty drastic change in how we had perceived your play in the middle of last split, and it hasn't stopped. You've kept improving constantly. So what do you attribute your immense amount of improvement to?
So like players are always improving. It just depends on like how fast you improve, and I just try every day to just try to get a little bit better each day, and then just focus on like the mistakes and yeah, just take practice seriously and just try your best in solo queue, and that's it.
All right, and final question for you here, Cody-san. It's been your sophomore split so far. You just finished your rookie one last time in spring. What has been the biggest difference for you between being a rookie and being a sophomore on the stage?
Yeah, when I was a rookie, I was kind of afraid to make my own calls in the game, and since these guys have like tons of experience, most of the time they don't listen to my calls anyways. So like yeah, as I got better and better, I had like my teammates have more confidence in me in scrims and on stage matches. So when I say, hey, I need vision for the side lane or I need cover here, then they just come immediately. And yeah, I'm just a lot comfortable now, just taking control of the game if I'm ahead or trying to get back if I'm behind.
Well, awesome to hear, and congratulations once again on that victory there over Cloud9. And we'll see you again later, Cody-san. And now we're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to close out that match.
Thank you, Zyrene. Immortals moving to 9-3, tying up with CLG in that top slot here in the North American LCS after a 2-1 victory over Cloud9, a struggling Cloud9 at that. Great to hear from Cody-san, even in jest, talking about how he was happy to play the role of, ADC that will get focused every fight if it means that Pobelter gets left to clean up those fights.
I mean, kind of carrot on the string. He's just dangling like, I'm a Kog'Maw. I'm a hyper late game carry, even though I've been horribly shut down. Keep diving me, please. And meanwhile, the rest of Immortals is able to play cleanup duty in a lot of these fights.
And to Jad's point, C9's composition built very well to eliminate a single target. But after that, the consistent damage dealing becomes a little bit more difficult, and that's where we see the secondary ADC able to put the cleanup, or rather pull off the cleanup on the back end of the fight.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, C9's comp should actually be able to win a fight after you blow up a single target. It's not like the front line of Immortals is super duper strong. It's Gragas, Renekton, pretty good overall, but I think the game circumstance made it so much different than how it should play out.
Exactly. Front line, there was a huge discrepancy in front lines just based on the way that the game went. But I do want to talk about C9 in this game specifically, returning a little bit to that mid lane focus. So it seems that after having lost game 2, they wanted to go back to what they knew was their best formula for winning. Let's enable Jensen on a powerful pick like Syndra, get those kills over to him, that gold advantage, and let him do the work. Unfortunately, it's not enough in this case, but they did do quite a bit of work in the early game.
You're right. I mean, Contracts actually had a great early game. He does the early gank bottom that I will touch on again in a second, but then he hands off the blue buff to give pressure to Jensen. They have level 6 with the wave pushed in. They dive Corki when he's level 5, greeting out to get some XP. It's really, really smart. They transition this into controlling blue buff, and during this time, Contracts has made a couple plays around the bot side, and they keep going mid as well. So overall, just a great combination between these two and Contracts in particular for controlling the entire bot side of this map.
Absolutely. All right, you want to go on a little rant about that bot lane?
Oh god, the level 3 gank on 2 level 1 bot laners is such a ridiculous path. You even heard Cody-san be like, yeah, we knew it was coming, but there's really no good option. You either blow a ton of wards early on and then you're exposed to other gank paths.
Right.
You have to sack the wave at level 1 and just accept that you're going to lose lane for the first couple levels if you want to live through it. And then sometimes you mess up the timing, which I assume is what happened here for them, where they're just like, oh, we thought we had an extra second. And if you're just wrong, a level 3 Rek'Sai flash and burrows on you and you really can't do anything.
It's very much a lose-lose situation for them down there in the bot lane, and so unfortunately the kill does come through for C9. But while all of this action is happening in the mid and the bot side of the map for C9, Flame is just going man mode in the top lane on this Renekton into the Shen, building a massive CS lead, bringing in a couple kills himself, going deathless. I mean, stellar performance out of him.
This is like kind of Flame's favorite kind of game to play from what we know about him, is he loves when he's kind of in that carry role and he's kind of given an island to work on. Because there was so much focus around that bot and mid side, he was able to pull a ton of pressure from Smithy to snowball through the top side. They didn't necessarily get a lot of kills, but the huge amount of CS denied, as well as being able to actually trade objectives relatively efficiently. You saw for the most part, the turrets were even until Immortals really came all the way back in the game, despite the fact that the bot side of the map was losing horribly.
Right, so we've got this massive lead built for Flame. On the flip side, it seems like Ray, while losing the lane, isn't adjusting his play properly in order to be effective. We saw that Sunfire Cape come in first. Great, fine. You've built some armor and some health up against the Renekton in the top lane. But let's remember that Kog'Maw deals a fair amount of magic damage. Corki deals almost entirely magic damage, right?
Gragas magic damage.
You follow your Sunfire Cape with a Titanic Hydra and Ninja Tabbies. Again, Ninja Tabbies not a bad buy because there are so many auto attackers on the opposing team, but we're now 3 items in, and you don't have a single source of MR.
Right, and you saw, I think, multiple times in these team fights, it was situations where, yes, C9 would instantly blow somebody up, and then after they go in, your front line's kind of in. The Shen has TP'd onto the Rek'Sai, the Rek'Sai and Shen are now in the back line, and they just need to tank long enough for the Syndra and the Xayah to be able to win the fight, and that just never happened. This one, a little bit different. This is the big team fight that got Immortals back into the game.
Yeah.
What ends up happening here is just Flame has a great flank. They're able to hook out onto Smoothie. C9 is in full retreat mode, and Flame is already in the perfect position to deal with that. So they're pinned up against 2 different fronts. They have nowhere to go. Renekton at this point was already a bit of a menace, and he gets even bigger after this one.
But again, you even see just how quickly Ray went down there once he did get focused. He was the 3rd member to die. But like within a second and a half, a few autos hit, and he's in the dirt.
Right, he got destroyed in lane, and when that happens, you need to realize that like your Titanic Hydra is basically worthless in a team fight. For the most part, you're a shield, and then you should just be a CC frontline bot while hopefully you can melt their frontline first. And that was just never the case because after they got the initial kill, he would die super fast just to Corki damage. And then this meantime, the Renekton, who's massive, is basically 1v2ing, and it's impossible for C9 to win team fights because their front line dies first, and then the Corki joins in with the Renekton, and you can't walk forward anymore.
All right, so C9 moving to 6-6. Again, this is, a struggling roster that finished, and as Azale mentioned at the beginning of the day, was close to winning the entirety of the spring split just this past spring. What's going on here? What's the solution? Is it because they're trying too many things with the Impact and Ray? They haven't landed on a single top laner, and so they don't know how to play with either top laner. Is it, that they are trying to find more strategic diversity and find other ways to win, and they just aren't quite there and well-oiled enough to execute those strategies? But hey, we have to respect the fact that they're trying for it.
I think it's just the complete collapse of their top lane players, because in the spring split we saw Impact started out great, started slumping a little bit towards the end of the season. Ray got a little bit more playing time. They were bouncing between the 2 of them. Ray was struggling to win, felt like they always won with Impact, and then come into the playoffs, we saw 2 relatively different styles between the 2 of them, and they both served their purpose in teams. What's happened since then is it just feels like both of them have become completely ineffective. Contracts becomes a little hit or miss. Honestly, I think he had a great game this time around. The bot side of the map smashed hard enough that you should crush this game, but Ray was not able to lose gracefully, was not able to build according to what he should have done for his team, I believe, and as a result, they lose this game, and it's a situation where sometimes it feels like no one else is able to step up with Jensen, or when 2 people do step up, someone else takes a big step back, and they never seem to all perform at the same point in time.
C9 struggles continue out. Immortals have a great weekend, boosting themselves up to a tie for first place with CLG and possibly TSM pending their results. We have another series coming your way, though. When we return, Team Liquid load onto the Rift versus TSM. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the North American LCS.